getting ready to speak, what you're getting ready to go away with. It's so powerful. Now, so Joseph talked about personal growth. I think we can all use personal growth. I don't care who you are, how rich you get, how much money you make, how much you don't think you need to come in here. But what he's getting ready to share is going to be, I think, an eye-opener for many of us. He's going to share some things that's going to be eye-opening in the financial world. We want you, he's getting ready to cover this part right here. And again, not to take the place of a financial advisor. Actually, one of my financial advisors is in this room. But not to take the place of your financial advisor, but sometimes we need a wake-up call about where we want to go in the future. Does that make sense? And I think it's so important. So I've asked him to share about 35 minutes, just some information that I know is absolutely life-changing. And this is something that all of us, I don't care how old you are, how young you are, I guess it matters a little bit, but this is something that each and every one of us need to hear. This is something that I want you to leave out of here knowing what you need to do to have a secure financial future. Does that make sense? I want you knowing, having an idea, a real idea. And so there's a lot of value here. I met Nate. It's kind of funny because it was kind of a funny situation. Because have you ever heard the phrase, successful people take action quickly? They don't procrastinate. They don't think about, to consider, to evaluate, to approximate, to decide, to reconsider, to look into, to discuss. You know what I'm talking about? You know how people never take action at anything? They just sit back and just never do anything. They just hope they hit the lottery, or hope something's going to come their way. And successful people think alike. And I shared something with him. We shared something with him, and he said, I'm ready to get started. But the person that introduced him was considering, to evaluate, to think about, to approximate, to decide, y'all know what I'm talking about, and wasn't ready to move. And actually, this is a valuable lesson for those of you who are working. You know, I want to say a couple statements. Work where you're deserved, not where you're needed. Work where you're deserved, not where you're needed. Work with the greedy, not always the needy. Work with people who are ready to take action. Work with go-getters. Work with doers. Does that make sense? And this guy's he's a doer. He's a go-getter. And I'm going to let him kind of tell his story as an amazing story. Military. I'm going to let him tell his story. But I asked him to come as a guest today, and he's doing me a favor. He doesn't have to be here. He has a family. He lives right here in Jacksonville, Florida. But we've just always stayed in contact. And this is just a real good brother. I mean, just a good brother, period. And he's going to drop some knowledge. I'm telling you, he's going to drop some knowledge. Be ready to write. He has a phenomenal story. And y'all welcome up Mr. Nate Scott. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Is the mic on?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
It's on?
Yes, sir.
Good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Oh, are you sure? Are you sure? All right, wonderful. Listen, get on your feet for me. Get on your feet. I know this is going to be the last session, so I promise to give you something that meets the purpose that Juana has laid out for you. Hasn't this been an amazing day?
Yes.
Has it been?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to end up asking you that question once I get you sitting down and engaged, because I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm an inspirational teacher. So my desire is not to get you feeling good and giving you a church service where you get the rah-rah and the amens, and then you go back and then your shoulders slump down and you go, woe is me. Have you had those experiences Sunday after Sunday?
Yeah.
True, right?
Yeah.
Well, see, that's not the way it's meant to be. And so therefore, because I know that that's not what it's meant to be, I'm going to do my part in giving you the experience that I want you to have the next time you do go through your worship service. So that when you go into that worship service, you leave that worship service ready to go do something because you truly believe the word that was given to you. Fair enough? I promise you this, guys, that if you will lend me your ear, I'll give you my heart. If you'll lend me your ear, I'll give you my heart. If you will just lend me your ear, I will give you my heart. Is that a good exchange?
Yes.
All right, so repeat after me. Dramatic wealth is a virtue.
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 I'm open and receptive to any ideas and people
I am open and receptive to any ideas and people
that will help me to achieve my goal of dramatic wealth.
that will help me to achieve my goal of dramatic wealth.
I'm open and receptive to any ideas and people
I am open and receptive to any ideas and people
that will help me to achieve my goal of dramatic wealth.
that will help me to achieve my goal of dramatic wealth.
I'm open and receptive to any ideas and people
I am open and receptive to any ideas and people
that will help me to achieve my goal of dramatic wealth.
that will help me to achieve my goal of dramatic wealth.
I am worth $100,000 per month,
I am worth $100,000 per month,
and I love sharing it with those in need.
and I love sharing it with those in need.
I am worth $100,000 per month,
I am worth $100,000 per month,
and I love sharing it with those in need.
and I love sharing it with those in need.
I am worth $100,000 per month,
I am worth $100,000 per month,
and I love sharing it with those in need.
and I love sharing it with those in need.
Through perseverance, I am creating
Through perseverance, I am creating
the financial dynasty I so richly deserve.
the financial dynasty I so richly deserve.
Through perseverance, I am creating
Through perseverance, I am
the
creating
financial dynasty I so richly deserve.
the financial dynasty I so richly deserve.
Through perseverance, I am creating
Through perseverance, I am creating
the financial dynasty I so richly deserve.
the financial dynasty I so richly deserve.
Through perseverance, we are creating
Through perseverance, we are creating
the financial dynasty we so richly deserve.
the financial dynasty we so richly deserve.
Give yourself a hand. Do you believe it? Do you believe it? See, it's my desire for you to walk out of here and be able to say with absolute certainty that you believe the words that have come out of your mouth. Just like God spoke and created, I want you to understand that that's the power that you have right now. You have everything that you need to bring about the life that you believe you deserve. Now, if you follow with what Joseph has just now shared, we're going to get to where that belief truly is. Because we'll be able to see what actions you're taking that demonstrate what you actually believe. Right? Go ahead and have a seat, please. So, a little bit about my story as I walk through, because as I said, my promise to you is that if you lend me your ear, I'll give you my heart. I am an inspirational teacher, which means that I'm going to be asking you questions. I'm going to be asking you for your input, because I'm not someone that speaks to hear myself speak. I'm going to deliver based upon what you give to me. I'm going to ask you questions so I know whether or not I'm getting through. My process is simply this. If I tell you, you'll forget. If I teach you, you'll remember. But if I involve you, you'll learn. Say it. If I tell you,
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 you'll forget.
you'll forget.
If I teach you,
If I teach you,
you'll remember.
you'll remember.
If I involve you,
If I involve you,
you'll learn.
you'll learn.
If I tell you,
If I tell you,
you'll forget.
you'll forget.
If I teach you,
If I teach
you'll remember. But if I involve you, you'll learn. Does that make sense? See, one of the flaws within our education system is that it's one way. You're getting the information one way. There's nothing to be pulled from you to get understanding. See, it does no good for me to give you information and then not confirm that you actually understood what it is that I gave to you. You know, I grew up in a small town outside of Savannah, Georgia called Effingham County. You ever heard of Savannah? Okay, right around the way, right? Okay. And so I grew up in a great family environment, faith-based family. I don't remember when my mom and dad lived together, so I don't know when they got divorced. But what I do remember is that my dad was always around. What I do remember that interaction between my mom and dad was one that didn't harm me. You just understand? And so in growing up, I had this desire to play college basketball. When my basketball scholarship fell through, I turned down my academic scholarships and enlisted in the Army. I immediately enrolled in college courses as soon as I got to my unit, and then through myself continued to play sports, because my desire and why I enlisted in the Army was I was going to continue to work on my game. I wanted to eat that Army food and bulk up and continue to work on my skills. Can you feel me? Because I figured, hey, I wanted to hit that goal. I wanted to play college basketball. And I was dependent, I was focused on continuing to do the work that was needed to get to the goal. I didn't let that goal delayed be one that was denied. That's a note for you. A goal or dream delayed does not mean that it's denied. And so as I enrolled in college courses, continued to play sports, opportunity presented itself when one of my professors, her husband was a West Pointer. Any of you guys ever heard of West Point, United States Military Academy? Her husband was a West Pointer. She knew my company commander. They had a conversation about me, unbeknownst to me. As Joseph said, people are watching. They had this conversation, then they approached me about the idea of going to West Point. At that time, I was in my nationalistic mindset. I had just gotten introduced to Malcolm X. I was in Germany, and Lord knows I applied that same discipline and focus and habit into Malcolm X. And I became a Malcolm X expert because it enlightened me. It opened my mind to something I'd never been exposed to before. Small town outside of Savannah, Georgia. I didn't get that exposure. And what I did was I became a student of Malcolm X, and what I realized was his life was so much more than what people presented it to be. He was not this one thing that people would always highlight on his nationalistic side. He was only the product of his environment and what he was being taught by those who was his influence. And what I saw was someone that was a person that was definitely a leader. And then as I saw his evolution, I saw that he was willing to change. Where he started talking about the devil and then realized that when he made that trip to Mecca, that he saw people completely different, because then in a different place, he saw people from different backgrounds that was not in line with what he was being taught. That's right. Evolution, change, willingness to change, to grow. And so during that time, I figured, I don't really want to go to West Point. I don't like West Pointers because of my experience that I had as a soldier. But I said, wait a minute, this is an opportunity. I'm going to see if they're going to do anything. They kept putting paperwork in front of me. I kept filling out the paperwork. And then lo and behold, Desert Storm came up. You see, life in business is like seasons. We'll go through seasons in life. We go through seasons in business. That was a life season. Getting the word that I was getting ready to be deployed to go fight. That was a season interruption, if you would. That could have been the winter of my life. Right? And so I went on to Desert Storm, served, and at 19, as I walked the perimeter during Desert Storm, I said, Lord, if you allow me to make it back, I'll never waste a day of my life. Something gets really real when you're in a situation when you don't know whether or not you're going to make it back. Because I was 18 before leaving to go into the combat zone, and I took my video camera and I videoed in the room my TV and my nightstand and my CDs and all the things that were items, and I was talking to the camera to my family saying, hey, I don't know if I'm going to make it back. Here's how I want it divvied out. Makes it real. So I walked the perimeter during the storm, pitch dark of night, and I said, Lord, if you allow me to make it back, I'll never waste a day of my life. So I get back to Germany. I get the opportunity to go to West Point prep school. Still had no intentions of going to the academy. But on February 26, 1992 at 10:30 a.m., I wrote out a decision matrix. And the decision matrix is one of the tools that I want to have you guys to employ today as I start to ask you some real questions. And all it is the Benjamin Franklin T. It's where you simply learn how to make decisions based upon what your pros are and your cons. February 26, 1992 at 10:30 a.m., I did this because I was looking to make a decision. Decisions are made with your mind. Thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. Thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. That's a framework for making sound decisions. Thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. Everything about our life is a direct reflection of what our thoughts are. You want to change your life, change your thought. Change your thought. There's a process of doing it. But all you got to know is that you have the power, and participating in events like this gives you the strength to then have better thoughts. Have you learned something this weekend thus far? You have? Okay. And so that's what the situation was. So I made this decision matrix, and I decided that I was going to go to the academy because I looked long term. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you made decisions that you didn't think about the future? You simply did something right then, and you realized moving down the line that that wasn't a smart long-term decision? You weren't willing to go through the pain of discomfort for a season of your life in order to have freedom for the future. Have you ever, can you think about times in your life where you just decided not to do something because it was easy? You decided to go with the easier choice instead of making the choice that would really benefit you the most? We all have. We all have. And so I went on to the academy. I did go there. I graduated, degrees in engineering and sociology. In 1996, the week I graduated from West Point, I got introduced to the world of personal growth and development and entrepreneurship, just like this. That's really the thing that I want you guys to understand, and that's why I accepted the invitation to come out, because I have made a commitment in 2019 to serve, and anytime I have the platform to share this message, especially right now, that I go out here and let everyone know that this is the environment that you have to be in if you want to develop the strength in order to create whatever it is that you desire in your life. How to think versus what to think. And the reason that is because you are the asset. You are the asset. It's not your company. It's not your boss. It's not your degree. It's you. In 1996, I walk into this room full of happy people. Right? You know y'all happy. That's what happens. And if you've seen the movie Pursuit of Happiness, yeah, you know Gardner was here yesterday. He spoke yesterday at the breakfast, MLK breakfast. The guy that Will Smith played in the movie. In that movie, the white guy comes up in a red sports car, and Will says to him, I've got 2 questions for you. What do you do, and how do you do it? Say it. What do you do, and how do you do it? That right there, I tell people, that's $1 million set right there. If you don't do anything but ask people that you identify, perceive as being successful, if you don't do anything except for ask those 2 questions and then keep what I call your money project journal, and I encourage you, that's one of your tools. Get your journal, something that's hardbound, not loose leaf, that you can immediately jot down your ideas. This is called your money project journal. $1 million ideas that you just boom, boom, boom. You got to execute right now, but you go ahead and put them down, and then you can come back to them. You can then flesh them out. Then you walk into new information. And you're like, oh, that's where it needs to be applied. And so that situation of what do you do, how do you do it, led to the guy saying, I'm a stockbroker. And then Will in turn says, oh, I guess I got to go to college for that. Right? What does that reflect? That reflects how we think, how we discount, and we project our own answer into situations instead of being open and receptive to any ideas and people that will help us to achieve our goal of dramatic wealth. The guy saved him by saying, no, you just got to be good with people and good with numbers. You got to be good with people and good with numbers. How many of you can be good with people? How many of you can develop into a person that can be good with people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Check one. Next thing is, how many of you can develop into a person that can be good with numbers? And what I mean is the numbers of sharing whatever it is that you have to offer, extending enough invitations in order to get whatever it is you're trying to get, or in order to give what you're trying to give. Right? We're good. If you got that, then you're set. We can create any level of financial security you want. Period. I promise you that. You'll get that before I leave here tonight. And so, after that exchange, then what happened is the guy goes on, and then what happens is Will looks over his shoulder and he sees the people walking down the stairs in slow motion. And he says to himself, they all look so damn happy. And then he asks himself, why can't I look like that? How many times have you come across someone, have seen something, and you admired it from afar, and you wondered what was different about them than you, and wondered why couldn't you have that? Why couldn't you live in that community? Why couldn't you drive that car? Why couldn't you have that body? Right? Different things in your life where you know that you weren't performing at the peak level. I don't know about you, I'm not at the peak level in every area of my life 24/7, 365 days a year. There are times in which things are imbalanced. When I break up the 6 aspects of my life, be it spiritual, mental, emotional, relational, physical, or financial, I find myself looking at, well, where can I improve? I'm in a constant state of improvement. The word Kaizen, K-A-I-Z-E-N. Kaizen, K-A-I-Z-E-N. Kaizen, K-A-I-Z-E-N. One of the things that will change your life is your vocabulary. Change your language, change your life. Change your communication, you will change your life. Where's the first place you need to change your communication? Can someone tell me?
With yourself.
With yourself. Right? Kaizen, Kaizen, Kaizen. And so I thought about this thing, about me. And I thought about this thing as if I was building out a house. And the house is the temple that God has given me, because our body's a temple, right?
Yes.
And I thought about it, and I said, okay, if the areas of my life are covered in areas of mental, which is M, physical, which is P, financial, F, E, emotional, R, relational, S, spiritual. You got it? Aspects of our lives, right? Spiritual, mental, emotional, relational, physical, financial, right? And I thought about, well, how can I optimize my life? How can I fulfill that promise that I made when I walked the perimeter during Desert Storm, when I said, Lord, if you allow me to make it back, I'll never waste a day of my life. And as I reflect on all of my life, it came down to the point, after experiencing some losses in my life, that's where I discovered my purpose. See, when I discovered my purpose, it was in the midst of the valley story. Have we experienced a valley in our lives? Have you been old enough yet to have a valley experience?
Yeah.
If you're not yet, you'll have one if you continue to live. At least if you live and try to live. I don't mean if you exist. I mean live. There's a difference. There's a difference. So I'm gonna come back here to tell you what the significance of this is, because this right here, I want you to have on your paper, because I'm going to ask you to tell me the order in which your life reflects that diagram, starting from the base going to the top. I'm going to ask you, so your test is going to be, how do you build this to optimal level? What's going to be the base for you? What's the next one? What's the build it up? Understand? Got it? That's what the instructions are. You're gonna fill that up. I'm going to ask you about it. And so, fast forward, I go to military. I have this experience, personal growth and development. My mind is blown. I realized from that point on that if you take away my West Point degree, if you take away my MBA from George Washington, if you take away my financial plan from Georgetown, if you take away all those things, the things that laid the foundation for me to make my first million by 32, was my introduction to that room full of happy people. So what I'm saying to you, that if there's a thing about saying, what do you do and how do you do it, I'm telling you from my story that you're already doing one of those things, and that is you come to a personal growth and development event. And what's nice about this is that it's so personal. You can reach out and touch. You can get engaged as much as you want. And that, my friends, is why I do what I do, is because I want people to know that, yes, I have those degrees from West Point, George Washington University, and Georgetown University. But take away all those things, just start picking up books and going to seminars and being around successful people, and make that lifetime education your number one focus.
That's right.
I promise you,
That's right.
you'll be increasing the value of the asset, which is you. So fast forward, I go and serve in the military. I have the degrees. After serving as an infantry officer, ranger, get out, have success, acquired over $1 million in assets in 90 days. Largest real estate holding was a 40-unit apartment complex. Put me in a position where I was getting cold called by people, and getting cold called by people, I was asking them a couple of questions, and they didn't know my background, and they didn't know I was looking for an advisor. I was looking for an advisor not because I didn't know what to do. I was looking for an advisor because I didn't want my emotions driving my decisions. Leaders are thinkers. People will be trying to make decisions from their feelings. That ain't making this. That's not logic. That's not leadership. Leaders use logic and think to make decisions. Thoughts drive your feelings. Sadly, what happens is most people have feelings driving their thoughts, and that's not right. And you'll discover that when I get you to hear. And from that point, as I was getting these calls, I asked a couple of questions, and then asking my questions, the responses I got made me wonder if they were just salespeople. And so at the same time, I was about to have my daughter, Nadia, who's now 14, and I had always been working the way I was working to be in a position to be that dad that could always be around. Well, that put me at a situation where I said, now let's see if I'm real about that as the real intention. So I looked at my numbers and I realized that I had enough passive income to be free. And I said, well, why am I staying up here in the DC metro area? Why am I staying up here? I don't have no family up here. I'm about to have a child. Why am I staying up here when all my family's back in Georgia? And so I picked up and moved here sight unseen in 2004. Walked away from a great job where at the starting time, my base salary was $83,500. Senior systems analyst, benefits and all that other stuff. Phenomenal job, living a life. But I was unfulfilled. I was working in a cubicle. I wasn't challenged. I wasn't being my very best. That's why I was able to do all that other stuff, go to school and do business, because I was bored. I was like, I got to do something. And so from there, came here, worked in the financial services, was an advisor at UBS. You ever heard of UBS? Wealth Management, Swiss Bank. And in turn, within a week of being here in Jacksonville, I realized my background and my experiences didn't matter. That I needed to have enough people saying he's a great guy. It wasn't a business of growing money. It wasn't me doing what I did for myself. It was a job where I was gathering assets under management. It was a sales job. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. My compensation was based upon how many assets I had under management. So that means I need to make sure that you know, like, trust, and respect me enough to open up your account with me, get you situated, drop you somewhere in the market, into a program, let me go and find new ones because that's how I'm getting compensated. Does that make sense? I didn't know that going into the business. I was a consumer. I'm thinking, these guys grow money. So then I'm here. I'm like, well, let me get into this game because now I need a network. So I built a book of business here. I threw myself in the Chamber of Commerce, actively networked, all that other stuff, led to me doing that. But I saw an opportunity. And the opportunity was that I was having conversations with people, realizing their situation in doing this exercise I'm about to give to you right now, and realized that they didn't know their real situation. And I was the only one saying, here are your real numbers. So that means the money that they were putting away, they never had a shot in their life to retire. Yet they were doing what everybody says to do. And that impacted me significantly, which is what led to Life is Rich, How to Create Lasting Wealth. On your paper, write down 1 through 7. 1 through 7. Life is Rich, How to Create Lasting Wealth is a principle-centered, biblically based leadership program. This is the book. Life is Rich, How to Create Lasting Wealth is a principle-centered, biblically based leadership program. I no longer have any of these in print. I'm not printing them anymore. It's available on Amazon, Kindle. What I offer now is the study guide because, again, I'm about practical application. I put it now in this so that you can mark it up and do what I want you to do, so that you can get results. Because I said, if I tell you, you'll forget. If I teach you, you'll remember. But if I involve you, you'll learn. Life is Rich means I live in fullness every day, L-I-F-E. Because I realize I am Christ's heir. I live in fullness every day because I realize I'm Christ's heir. My heart's desire is for each one of you as believers to look in the mirror and to boldly state that promise to yourself. What is meant by saying you're an heir? Sir, if you would, what's your name?
I'm Douglas.
Douglas, what does it mean to you to be an heir? What comes to your mind to be an heir?
Like inheritance.
Okay, all right. How about you, sir?
I guess you could say future wealth or having wealth for generations. An heir of something, having something yet.
Okay.
Time on, not just for the present.
Okay, got it. Sir? Okay. Ma'am?
Probably to benefit from someone else's struggle.
Oh, praise God. I'm going to leave it right there. I want you to reflect on that answer right there. Because that's it. I live in fullness every day because I realize I am Christ's heir. The highest of kings. There's an entitlement. I have all the goods. I have all the wealth. It was left for me because of the sacrifice that was made. I mean, do you guys read the same Bible that I read? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Life. Live in fullness every day. Now, you have it now. Do you understand that? Revelation? If you believe what I'm saying to you, what would your life look like? How would you go about your life if you believe what I just now said?
Be bold.
You'll be bold. You'll be responsible.
Be powerful.
You'll be powerful. Right?
Absolutely.
You walk into it regardless of your situation. You could be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It don't matter. Your situation did not define who you are. Right? You could be cast in that hole by your brothers and still yet you know that there's a promise for you. It's simply a holding. Right? That's what Life is Rich is about. And so in writing this book, when I wrote it, with every scripture, every chapter beginning with scripture. Because I'm like this. You know God's word, but so what? How do you take it and apply it to your life on a daily basis? Why is it that people of the world will apply God's principles? Law of attraction. You heard that? Law of attraction? Why would they apply God's principles in their life and reap the harvest, yet people of the body will not apply those principles? Huh? See, principles you don't have to be a believer to have the principle, to follow a principle. Principles just stand alone. Principles work for everybody. Right? Law of gravity, it works for everybody. That right there, my friends, is what I want you to walk away with. I want you to understand. I want you to walk away with that conviction that you have everything that you need. You already have it. You already have it. Life is rich. It's foundationally built on Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all things thereafter shall be added unto you. Say it, all things.
All things.
I mean spiritually, mentally, emotionally, relationally, physically, and financially. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, relationally, physically, and financially. All things shall be added unto you. But you got to do the work. This is the work right here. Don't you know that most people in the body have never been to something like this? Imagine, I had this big vision. Imagine you go from your Sunday service and then you get a big caravan and then they show up to this. Imagine now that you finish your Sunday worship and then we do this on the next Saturday and now everybody comes here with now so we show practical application. The scripture said this past Sunday. Okay, well, how does that work? That's what my vision is right there. That's what I want to see, because we got to live in fullness every day because we've been promised life. But we don't know how, because there's nobody that's teaching that. I know that's my assignment. That's my gifting. To be able to take that stuff, to be able to understand it in layman terms. So how do we create this thing called life and live in fullness every day? What's our biggest inhibitor?
Self.
Okay, self. Let's say we solid with self. What's the real world thing that we have as an issue? I'll tell you that for most people, well, let me ask you, fear is another great one. But now I'm talking about the practical stuff. Now here's practical stuff. Let me ask you. If money and time were not an issue, this is a question for you, and I'm going to ask about for you. Money and time were not an issue. What would your life look like? What would you do? Money and time were not an issue. What would you do? What would your life look like? What would you have? What would you experience? What would you give? Ma'am, let me ask you. You. Yep.
Me?
Yep.
Okay, so money and time was not an issue. I would definitely be getting involved more with things that I can give to people. I can set people, kind of like what Mr. Thurman's doing, but not in that area. Bringing people to a place where they can really get out of that rut, get out of that normal, and introduce them to something new, introduce them to what really is prosperity of life, like you're talking about.
Okay.
And, just pull them out of those rough places.
Okay.
And also just be blessing the people.
Thank you. How about you, sir? Money and time were not an issue.
Oh, okay. I'll let you think about it. Money and time, not an issue. I think that for me it would be. I mean, at that point, though, it's just passion as far as allowing people to experience. I feel like when you're in that place, if people can't enjoy what you enjoy, then it's lonely in a sense. I think that's just my thing is allowing people to feel freedom.
Okay.
You
All right.
know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ma'am? Yes. Yes. Yes.
So money is not big time. I probably, goodness, would definitely ensure that I was leaving something, a legacy for my children.
Okay. All All right, Rico.
I definitely would do this more.
Okay.
Speak.
Okay, Robert. Joseph.
I be traveling, hanging out.
All right, where'd you go? Where would you go?
I don't know, Dubai, China,
Okay,
Tibet,
okay, perfect. What would you do?
just walk around, nothing.
All right,
Yeah, nothing at all.
there you go. Thank you, thank you. How about you, sir? Money and time were not an issue.
I would just travel and, I would try to see how I could help, people and help them and build programs that for students that they can actually learn more about our real history instead of just about the norm of what it is they push upon us. And learn about financially, mortgages for kids that are in school, that are 12 graders, that need to know this stuff when they get into the real world, that don't know it, and pass it on to them and pass that passion that I had, which that nobody gave me. I reach back to the kids and find out what they need and what more can I do for them.
Okay, thank you. Sir,
There's a lot of things I would do.
give me one.
I would work with the youth, empowering the youth, doing mentoring.
Okay,
I have a vision to put together like some type of facility where like at-risk teens could actually live at. A lot of people who don't, like the teens, if they don't have healthy relationships with family members, somewhere where they can go and actually receive that love that they're
Okay.
missing. So
All right.
I would help the youth.
thank you. Young lady?
Mine is a little bit similar to
Okay.
him. I
Elaborate.
would spend as much time as I could investing in women and helping women to grow in confidence and grow in understanding of who they are. Just spending a lot of quality time that sometimes a lot of people don't get to spend with women, helping them build themselves up and just be taken to the next level in their confidence and their understanding of who they are.
All right, thank you. Ma'am? Yes? You? Yes?
Okay, I would, I'd probably homeschool my kids and travel with them, and just let the globe be our classroom, really.
Okay.
Give ourselves
Have one?
another
Make
environment.
sure you give me time. Sir, how about you? LeBron?
You don't want me to say, because I may get kicked out of here on ethics violation. My vision is to help, with my company right now, is to help others fulfill their vision.
Okay.
You know.
If money and time were not an issue, what would you do? What would you do?
Okay, invest more into helping people become successful spiritually, physically, financially, socially, and mentally.
Perfect. Thank you. How about you, sir? Thank you, back.
First of all, I thought it was a great question. Second, I think I will be doing exactly what you do is what I do now, when you do.
Okay. How would it
Young
change?
people, touch seniors, touch educated people, touch people who want to be educated, and try to advance and share my knowledge like you're doing today.
Praise God. How about, yes? Yes, sir. And let me know who's missing, because Tim is here. I want to now touch everybody, because I think this is a valuable piece. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would stop right now I do a 9 to 5, I would quit that. And, I would start my own business. And, also I would, probably just have, just buy me a big mansion. And,
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I need that. I need
Yeah.
that.
All these nice people
All
in
this-
here.
That was my
All
word,
these
Juana.
nice folks in here. Lord.
Okay. Did you answer yet?
No, I haven't.
Please.
Serve others.
Real nice.
The youth in the community.
Okay, Juana.
I just believe, God made me to be a teacher, and a lot of people hit on it. I would do the plane, the jet, the yacht, the big houses, but somebody said a long time ago, doctor in Latin means to teach. And I feel like there's so many kids that just have no clue, and I would really go back and reach out to the kids and teach them this stuff.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Sir, you ready? Go ahead.
I'll take all, since money's not an issue.
Right.
Family and friends who have children, pay up their mortgage for 2 years.
Great.
Now you take that money that you would pay for the mortgage and you can put it towards something else.
All right.
That's one thing. Set up my record label, record every 4 months. Travel with my ensemble 6 months out of the year. 3 months out of the year, open my East West restaurant. Cook, over the spirit, mind, body, and train. Take that all over.
All right, thank you. Ma'am?
To continue doing a lot of what I do now, and that's to serve the elderly in my church and just help people
Okay, all right.
who are not able to help themselves.
Got it. What I want you to understand is that the American dream of financial freedom is alive and well. Isn't it alive and well in here? Even if we struggle with communicating it. Even though we struggle with communicating it. That the American dream of financial freedom is alive and well. And whatever that may mean to you, you can have it if you will simply invest the time to learn how to get it. Once again, you've made a tremendous step because you're now working on yourself. You're investing time. Time is more valuable than money. Time is more valuable than money. I value my time. I know what it costs me to give it to you. I value my time. I value you and your time, which means I feel an obligation to make sure that it makes it worth your while. So if the issue is money and time, then what I need to do is I need to make sure that I give you a true understanding of what it takes in order for you to create a plan that you can actually execute to bring about that which you want. That's my commitment. So the exercise we just went through is about me identifying your goal. Could you put that picture up for me? We just now went through the goal. I want you to go back and really fine tune that, because I tell you what, you can tell how people's language changed or their energy changed when they had already been thinking about it. When that gentleman in the back started speaking, you could hear his passion, which means he's got that in his heart. He wants to really make that happen. It wasn't no stuttering. He already knew what it was and was like, okay, I'm ready to move it into, right? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to really take the time. We don't dream. They said that most people die at age 25 and wait to be buried at 65. Think about that for a moment. What does that mean? Somebody tell me, what does that mean?
That means
You're living course.
somewhere down that line, you had that vision, that goal, that desire. You allowed others' opinion to change you, and then you just sort of left on the way.
Okay. At 25, you stop dreaming. Because someone told you, go ahead and get into the real world.
Oh,
That's not practical.
get a real job.
Get a real job. Right? That in turn is what caused that situation for that person then to go and put their head down and they get stuck in that rat race. That rat race. So goal is what we just now covered. The next thing is what we're going to do is we're going to go through the assessment. We're going to go through the assessment. You can't see that, or you got a light. Can you see that picture? Or do you need to turn off the light?
You turn off the lights.
Turn off a light?
It'll come in. It's coming in.
Oh,
It's
it is
coming
coming
in.
in? Okay, boom. Okay. So I had you write down 1 through 7. My first business was as a personal trainer. I then started teaching people how to apply the habits of physical fitness to their life. I then did my MBA at George Washington, started teaching people how to apply the habits of physical fitness to business. Then I did financial planning at Georgetown, started teaching people how to apply the habits of physical fitness to personal finance. You see the process? The process is goal, assessment, plan, accountability. On November 11th of 2018, I decided that I was going to set a new goal. I wanted to transform. I wanted to do something to shake my system up, if you will. And so my birthday is coming up in April. And so I set a goal of getting into the best physical shape, physical look, of physical appearance of my life for my birthday, which is in April. November 11th is when I kicked it off. 11/11/18. So I started there.
2018 equals also 11. So 11.
Praise God. There it is. You see, so that's where I began. I don't know where you're at in your life, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, relationally, but there's a starting point. You've got to get clear about what your starting point is. You got to do your assessment. At that time, I was 183 and 26% body fat. You got to do your assessment. I asked you earlier about how would you build out the optimal. In order for you, there's something that's going to be revealed here that's going to show you what's your biggest hang-up as far as reaching your goal. Let me ask you around the room real quick, what would be a base for you? What's the base if you're going to live an optimal life? What's your base?
Economics.
Huh?
Economics.
No, we got either mental, financial, relational, physical, emotional, or spiritual.
Physical.
By a show of hands, how many say which one?
Physical.
Physical. Okay, physical. How many say physical? Raise your hand. Okay, that's your base. Okay, who says something else? Your base. Say, just say it. I don't care. Say it. Don't be iffy. You're saying what you think. You know your life. You know what your base is. You know your base. All right. Anybody else different than that? Okay. Next level up. Spiritual is out of the way. Physical is out. Well, so if you said physical, then you can't use that anymore. If you said spiritual, you can't use that anymore.
Financial.
Financial next level. Okay. Who says something different?
Mental.
Okay. Anybody says anything different? Second, for you spiritual, don't be bashful. I just need to know so I can kind of get an idea.
Social. Relationships.
For that base, for the second line. For the second line for you, is that what you're saying for you? Relationship, second?
No.
Then that's it. No, we're good. We're good. Okay, so next, third line.
Mental.
Relational for you? Okay, relational for you. Now, who got something different?
Mental.
Physical.
Okay, somebody says physical and someone says mental. Someone else says anything else? Okay? Next level up. What's on that line? What's your next one? Financial for you? Okay, what else? Somebody says somebody else.
Emotional.
Relationships for somebody? Okay, what else? Anybody different?
Emotional.
Emotional. Okay, anybody else? Different. Trying to get to the top. And you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 2 more left. Okay? You got to be thinking about yourself. Next one, 5th level.
Emotional.
Emotional for you, 5th level. Okay, next.
Relationship.
Okay, look at your sheet. Look at what you wrote. What you got? Where you at? Look at yourself. Look in the mirror. This is going to show you really what you got to make the adjustment. Anybody different? Okay, very top. What's the last thing?
Financial.
Last thing, okay. Financial. What's last? Last thing for you to get in order. Last thing for you to have it built right. What's last? Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there.
Relational for me.
Huh?
Relational for me.
Relational? Last. Okay. All right, so listen. So what you got here is, you see all the different variations? You see? So here's what I'm going to give you I'm going to give it to you the way that I see it, and I can back it up. But we're not going to go through all that because of time. But I hope you get from it. Spiritual, mental, emotional, relational, physical, financial. Anybody got that? If you've got that, you've got the structure to live in fullness every day. Spiritual keeps you. You got a higher source. Thoughts lead to feelings. You gotta think, regardless of what's going on. Thoughts, taking God's word and now applying it as a thinking action. Your thoughts drive your feelings, your emotions. Relations. You don't need to have the money, you can still have shelter. You don't have to have no money, you can still eat. Relationships will allow you to get to any and everything. Physical. You can lose, if you don't have your physical health, quality of life goes. And then lastly is your financial. You following? Assessment. That was another assessment. That was assessment right here. So you got to begin you got to begin with the end in mind. That's your goal. Then you got to do your assessment. Now for the financial piece, because money or time is the issue that keeps us from having this what we want, right? Either money or time. Number one, your age. Write your age down.
For the 1 through 7?
Yep, through the 1 through 7. Number 1, your age. Just the answer. Number 2, the age in which you want to retire. Let's just say 65. Number 2, just the answer. The answer is number 65. 65. Write 65 for number 2. Write 65 for number 2, just for general purposes. Number 3, the difference between those two. How many years do you have to get to that age? How many do you have there? Number 4, your current net worth, your current asset value. If you're going to sell something, or if your 401k, or you're looking for somebody to die and get that life insurance policy, whatever, don't even front. Y'all know some of y'all be like, they go. Your asset value, number 4. Number 5, the monthly amount that you would like to have to live in retirement comfortably. The monthly amount to live in retirement comfortably. See, anybody can retire, but the question is, can you retire well? Number 5, the monthly amount. Number 6, the absolute best rate of return you personally know how to get. The absolute best rate of return that you personally know how to get. For general purposes, so I can go through it, I know that question. You're probably looking at me like, what? So let me know. Who don't even know what I just said? Exactly. And normally, this is when I normally would teach, but the bottom line is, that's when you talk about how you put your money, where you're going to put your money in and grow it, and make sure it grows. And that you actually then know how to get, meaning you got control over it, not the standard language that comes from people in the business and saying, well, the market goes 7, 8, 10% over. No. What do you know how to get? So let's just use 5% for general purposes. 5%. All right, number 7 is us doing calculations. Take what you have for number 5 and multiply that by 12. And I need y'all to do this quick. 5 times the number 5 answer, the 5 answer times 12. Somebody give me that number. Speak up.
84,000.
84,000. So you said 7,000 a month. Somebody else. What do you have?
36.
36. So he said 3,000 a month. Somebody else. How much per month? How much per month? Are you doing exercise? How much do you want per month? What do you have?
I got 6.
6,000. Okay, 72,000 is your annual amount, right? Did you have that? 72,000? This is me checking to make sure you got that you did the calculation.
150,000 a month.
Huh?
150,000 a month.
150,000.
You said it.
Okay. Okay. 150,000 for the annual amount or the monthly amount?
Month.
Okay, so multiply that by 12. What's that? So pay attention. See, listening is critical. And again, in the school, you get passed through the system because nobody's verifying that you actually are following along. So then you miss the formula. So then you can't do the other stuff. Right? This is critical. This is the part that Warner really brought me here for. To have you walk out of here with a reason to do more personal growth and development. Okay, now divide that number, that annual amount, by 0.05. So if you said 36,000, divide that by 0.05, that's 720,000. So you would need 720,000. You said 84,000? 84,000 divided by 0.05 is how much?
4,200.
No. Divided by 0.05.
85,000.
84,000 84,000 divided by 0.05.
Oh, I'm sorry.
1.68 million?
Right. It's 1,680,000.
There you go.
Okay, so who was that now? Who was that though?
You said 7,000 a month is what you would like to have in retirement.
Right.
You have a job?
Yes.
You have a 401k plan?
Not yet.
Okay, so if you're on your job offers one?
Right.
Okay, so you say you got a job and you got a 401k and you're trying to use that for your retirement, right? You listening?
Yes.
Okay, so now you're putting money away. Most people are putting money away, but they don't have no clue how much they need to put away in order to get you 7,000 a month.
Okay.
I'm saying to you, what you need, assuming a 5% rate of return, in order to get 84,000 a year from your retirement, that you need to have 1,680,000 in your 401k.
Oh, okay.
Now you take that 1,600,000. Now you take that dollar amount that you got, divide that by what you have for number 3.
$93,333.
So you need to put away 93,300 and what?
$33.
Starting right next year. Divide that by 12.
7,000.
Starting next month. Starting next month. Now by a show of hands, how many of you actually make how many of y'all make if you put away your whole check? That you have enough to put away. That's the big aha. That's why I wrote this. To tell you what the bankers and brokers don't tell you. Because what I found myself as an advisor doing was when I was trying to, again, I'm thinking my role was one thing. I'm giving people the numbers, and I'm looking at the numbers like, there's no way they can do it like that. So I can't help them with the products that I'm offering from my company. So they were asking me about what did I do to retire at 32 financially. So now I'm talking about strategies that are not mass marketed. You follow me? That's what you can get when you participate in personal growth and development. You get the stuff that's not mainstream, mass marketed, passed to the masses. 97% of people cannot retire comfortably. 97 out of 100 people cannot retire comfortably. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I'm saying that 1 out of that number is going to be able to retire comfortably. You got to change your vehicle. So I started here. I did my goal. I wanted to get to 1.68 million. I did my assessment. I looked at what I had for number 4, my current asset value. I then said, this is what the gap is. This is how much I got to put away. I did that. The third piece is putting together a plan. The plan includes your vehicle. The plan includes what habits will you have to develop. What shifts will you make? I am your constant companion. I am your greatest helper or heaviest burden. I will push you onward or drag you down to failure. I am completely at your command. Half of the things you do, you might as well turn over to me, and I will do them quickly and correctly. I am easily managed. You must be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want something done, and after a few lessons, I will do it automatically. I am the servant of great people and Allah's of all failures as well. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I am not a machine, though. I work with the precision of a machine plus the intelligence of a person. You may run me for profit or run me for ruin. It makes no difference to me. Take me, train me, be firm with me, and I will place the world at your feet. Be easy with me, and I will destroy you. Who am I? I am habit. In order for you to create what you desire, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, relationally, physically, or financially, you need to begin with the end in mind. What is it that you want to see happen? When Juan told me about today and asked me, I said, tell me what the result you want the people to leave with. That's the only thing I asked him. You got to have that in mind. The next thing is you got to do your assessment. You got to be truthful about where you're at, so that then you can deal with the resources that you have, so you can make the shifts that you need to make. Your plan is all about you changing your habits. It's about you developing new rituals. You cannot, in order for things to change, Jim Rohn said, in order for things to change, you must change. In order for you to get better, you must get better. That's right, use the I. In order for things to change, I must change.
In order for things to change, I must change.
In order for things to get better, I must get better.
In order for things to get better, I must get better.
And what you need lastly for that to happen is accountability. I don't know what Barna has in place and what the next thing is, but I encourage you that you stay engaged, because you want to be in a fruitful environment, a growth environment. And that's what you have here. Make a point of connecting with one another, so that you have someone that's at least of like mind, that's investing in themselves. You guys are in a special crew to take the weekend to do this, because that's not the norm. So I want you to celebrate I want you to be celebrated for doing that, to investing in yourself and investing the time to be here. But more importantly, what I want you to do is, I don't want you to be alarmed by your current situation. Now, what I want you to do is start thinking about what you really want, knowing that you've got to look at things outside of what it is that they tell you, because that's not working. If it was working, why would only 3% out of 100 be able to retire comfortably? That's not good. Okay? And so, in conclusion, what I want to do is I just want to walk around the room one time and just ask for one thing that you can walk away with value. And then from there, I will give you guys an audio CD of chapters 1 and 2 that you can put in your car, and you can pass that around, man. And you can get that. I want to reward the young lady who is very vocal with this this Life is Rich t-shirt. This is hopefully this one fits you. I got other ones in the back. Life is Rich, living fullness every day. Matthew 6:33. This is the company. The study guide is available, but as I said, from Amazon you can get the physical. Not physical. You can get that on Amazon Kindle if you will go there and get it directly. But around the room, just give me one thing. This is how you feed me, by letting me know one thing of value, so I can see whether or not I met my mark, and then I'll pass it back over to Juan. Juan, I want to say thank you for this opportunity, sir. One thing of value you got from today.
I think what I value the most is investing in myself, taking the time to do this and invest and to continue to grow.
Okay. Oh, excuse me. One thing you got from my talk, so I can see what I gave you today that you got. One thing of something of concrete value that you want to take away.
Just taking ownership and investing in myself.
Okay.
That's what
Got it. Thank you.
Changing my habits. The last point got me, man. That was it. Changing my habits. That's definitely. Yeah.
All right. All right, sir.
Change your communication and you can change yourself.
Oh my. All right.
I learned a lot from that pyramid that you made up there. The spiritual being on the bottom, that was very interesting to me.
Why?
Probably because I thought you have to have physical strength in order to have spiritual strength.
Interesting. Are you a believer?
Yes.
Interesting. I'd love to talk to you. That right there, that's mind blowing to especially the way the church does. That they talk all about spiritual, and then for you to think that that isn't the thing that you need first and foremost is interesting, and not in a bad way. It's just interesting, because why do we have so many people in the body? That's all they talk about. Yeah. I'm blessed and highly favored, right? Yeah. And I look like it and act like it. Right. All right. I ain't even going there. Ma'am, how about you? And what's your name?
Tracy.
Tracy, I got this gift for you. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you. I got a lot of it, but I'm one of those late boomers, so I saw where I still had that time to still get to where I want to go, regardless of how it looks. just keep my mindset set in the right way, and it shall be done. So
If you take the right action. So don't
Right.
believe in that whole deal about mind and feel good. No.
You
That-
just confirm, I mean, literally, Nisi and I were just talking about this stuff
All right.
over and
Thank
over, so
you.
you just confirming.
All right, Nisi.
Habits and retirement plan.
Okay.
Two of the main things that I pulled from this that were not as part of my face vision wise.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Living in fullness every day, I change my language.
Language, great. Sir, yellow shirt?
The Kaizen.
Oh.
I learned what Kaizen is a constant state of improvement, and I connect that to the pyramid, because you pretty much laid out the 6 elements that revolves around our life, and so we're constantly trying to improve all of those things. And then also, when you said logic, you need logic to drive your thoughts and not emotions.
Sir?
Focus
Focus.
is, to me, encapsulates all of this. And it has to stay. It's like a horse with blinders. That's why they put the blinders on the horse, so that the horse stays focused on moving forward.
And what do you focus on?
What your desires are.
Okay.
You
So,
want to get better playing your instrument, well, then you need to put in the time.
there you go.
6 to 5 hours a day. If you want to train, get the body weight down, do that, and you have to train, but you also have to think correctly and eat correctly.
All right, all right. What I want you to think about when you talk about focus as a believer, only if you're a believer, I want you to think about it. The foundation of Matthew 6:33 is what life is rich is about. Once you have salt, I want you to believe that, and you ain't got to continue to beat that to death. You got that. Your salvation's already got it. Then focus like he's talking about now on the practical stuff. Understand? That's already taken care of. As long as you're doing it with the right spirit, you're doing it for the glory, then you're straight. Sir, in the back.
Live in the fullness every day.
All right, there you go. Ma'am, in the back.
The acronym of LIFE.
Okay.
Good tool to use to reflect on the day, decisions made, situations that you were in.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. Yes?
The pyramid activity, it kind of helped me to see that I'm on the right track, and then the goal assessment plan and accountability, just to kind of go along with that to, I guess, to accomplish those goals and everything.
There you go. There you go, sir. Something from that you got a value from my talk.
Because you're the man that you are, when you express a picture of physicality, your spirituality is unswerving. So your physicality makes you strong mentally. So your physical, to me, is your true basis, because you've already been touched and touched others with your spirituality.
It's attractive. It's just an attraction thing. How about you, sir?
That would come from my partner, the medical doctors, that put physical. I have to go with spiritual first. You know, I believe in faith, family, and then finances, because I believe in Matthew, as you said, 6:33. Okay, seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and everything else is added unto you. What if a man gain the world but he loses his soul? You know, so spiritual is first for me. But I get what Dr. Mathis is talking about. You know, on his viewpoint, and everybody has a different viewpoint on it. You know, so him being that kind of doctor, yet I'm in theology and philosophy. It's a different viewpoint for me. So I believe my financial base, my spiritual base is first in your pyramid. That's what I got. For me, then my family. If I don't have my family, somebody to share my wealth with, the rest of it don't matter. Then, you know, I want that financial to be strong. It's next in my life. And then, you know, the Bible tells us He wishes above all things we prosper, be in health, even as our soul prospers. So it doesn't matter if we prosper in our soul and in our finances if our health is out of whack. So I need that health in there. And then mental for me. As a man thinking in his heart, so is he. You know. But some of that seems like it can be interchanged a lot of times. But what is without question in my personal life is the spiritual. God has to be the foundation.
So those are the conversations that I would normally take you through, because everything that he shared is often shared, but I can walk you through where you can actually see where if you're not having everything, if your life isn't like you really want it, how that's impacted. For example, how many people have you known that have not pursued success because of their family? Have you noticed, have you seen that experience? Where there's a relationship, maybe it's their marriage. How many people do you know that have the opportunity, they've got greatness in them, but they don't want to leave other people behind? Spiritual mentor, the Bible speaks to renewing of the mind. Your feelings follow from your mental state when it's done right. Leaders are the covering of the head, the full armament of God. That what is being covered, right? That's to protect that. The full armor of God. That physical state, again, nothing else is, that's just now you're applying the habits. That right there. My wife, I posted this last night, and I posted this last night, and I said, since getting married to Andrew C. Scott, this is where I've evolved, and I had to shake some things. I need to get back to my regular process. and she would say, really, Nate? After you married me? I said, yeah. Now somebody came behind and said that he's meaning he's getting good loving, or it's your great meals or all that other stuff. I said, exactly. The relationship was so healthy that literally, it shows. See, it wasn't a knock against her. It's just the truth of the matter is that, that's where my focus was at. I'm like, Joe, just enjoy life. The habits weren't the same. The discipline wasn't the same.
Comfortable.
Right. Now, so she's now trying to, she's like, oh, I got to come back and my handles are coming out. I'm like, but yet she'll still push stuff to me. But now that responsibility, now the pressure's on because she sees that I'm like, I ain't going to let you take me down that path. I still got to maintain that reflection, what you're talking about, of what my truly being is. My spiritual being. I'm the temple. So if I'm that temple, this is what I got to show you. I got to show you God's best. Right? That's what that's about. And then, like I said, then you go to work with your finances piece, So anyway, man, like I said, I'll get in here and talk all day, but this is what I want to say to you. I appreciate your attention. Did you get a value? Did I get everybody up on it? Did I get you? I'm leaving you up.
Buana Thurman here. It's been such an awesome afternoon. It was such a privilege to have Nate Scott in the house here at Momentum Training. I asked Nate kind of at the last minute to do me a favor, and he came here and tore the house down today. Really giving so much value and showing people how to have a plan, showing people really how to have value and how to set their life up. And it's just a huge inspiration, but more importantly, a teacher. And as he talks about, he got all of us involved. He got all of us engaged. And it's very, very, very exciting. And I would encourage anybody, if you have an opportunity to plug into AskNateScott.com or whatever his website is, I would encourage you to make sure you do so.
Hello, my name is Tracy Brown. I'm actually from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida for the next level with Catch Momentum here. But I have actually just learned so much from this setting today. I came with expectation, so what I received was actually what I was looking for. I actually found a way, a plan on how to really get set on the goals that I'm looking to do. I can really build that financial freedom that I'm looking for. Always wanted it, knew that the wealth was there, but really didn't know the aspects on how to really go about it. So from this session that I heard from Mr. Nate Scott has really just put the icing on the cake. Everything that I've learned from here has been awesome. This really came and put the icing on the cake. Now I actually have the blueprint. I have the actual plan on what I need to do it. He showed me physically through the numbers and how I can start doing little things now in order to get to where I want to be, and I'm so grateful and appreciative to it. If anybody is hearing my voice, anyone that's seen this video, you must come to these events. You got to see Mr. Nate Scott. It's definitely a mind, body, and soul changing event.
Hey, this is Denise Wilson, and I've learned today from Nate about the acronym LIFE, living in fullness every day, and it's a great tool to go back and evaluate how my day has been, to do some reflection, and look at the decisions I've made and the situations that I've been in. Am I truly living life in all of its fullness?
Hello, my name is Dr. T.V. Wilson, CEO of XIXI. And I got a chance to come to an event with Nate, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had, and I will recommend his conference, his trainings to any of the people that ever come into my company, because it will take them to another level in their life. It was phenomenal. I walked in not expecting to receive anything after 35 years in this industry, creating 32 millionaires, training over 100,000 people. Yet, when I sat in a meeting with Nate Scott, it changed my life. I was motivated. I was fired up, and now I'm ready to present Nate Scott to anyone I know. What you want to do is you don't want to miss out and lose out on any of the events that Nate Scott is offering. Take care, God bless, and see you at the top, the tip top, and over the top. My name is Dr. T.V. Wilson, and I'm out.
Great. I thoroughly enjoyed Mr. Nate Scott. It was very enlightening and enrichment. I really enjoyed him talking about living a life of fulfillment and changing your language and changing your life. It was very helpful.
Hello everybody, I'm Vince. I'm having an awesome time at the Momentous training. Nate Scott, he brought by some awesome jewels, some good nuggets to take home that we can actually apply. His method of teaching is not just to tell you, it's to actually give it to you so you can apply it. And we're just so happy to get some good information that we could actually use. We've learned about leadership, about making decisions with logic instead of emotions. We learned about actually using goals and assessing them and turning them into action plans, and some good information that we can eat off of for multiple days and not just today. So I thank Nate for this information, and definitely go ahead and check him out.
Hello, this is Dr. Mathis, talking about Nate and what a wonderful job he did in his holistic aspects and being able to build lives for other people, to share his knowledge and experience so that everyone can gain. Getting the opportunity to meet Nate and his experience and helping people understand how to set a plan for their future, for their financial future, for their spiritual future, for their whole overall holistic lifestyle has been amazing. And I'd like to tell him thank you 1,000 times.